The plasma cannon's red beam sliced through the darkness, missing Marcus Chen's head by inches. He rolled behind a twisted metal support beam as alarms screamed through the alien ship's corridors. His breathing came in sharp bursts, each exhale. Visible in the ship's freezing atmosphere? Human. The voice boomed through translation devices, echoing off the crystalline walls. You cannot hide forever. Marcus pressed his back against the cold metal, checking his weapon's charge. Percent remaining. It's not good. He'd been running through this maze of corridors for what felt like hours. But his watch showed only 30 minutes since he'd been discovered. The ship around him was beautiful and terrifying. Walls of living crystal pulsed with soft blue light, growing and reshaping themselves as he watched. The Zephyrian architecture was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. Breathed. It lived. And right now, it was hunting him. Heavy footsteps approached his hiding spot. Marcus could hear at least 3 sets of them, maybe 4. The Zephyrians were closing in, their crystalline armor making distinct chiming sounds with each step. Thought about Sarah back on Earth, about the message he'd never sent, about the life he'd never get to live if he died here. Millions of light years from home, the footsteps stopped. Marcus held his breath. Search pattern 7, came the commanding voice. Now the human spy dies today. That's when the lights went out. In the sudden darkness, Marcus heard something that made his blood run cold. A soft, melodic humming. It wasn't coming from the Zephyrian soldiers. This sound was different. Older, more powerful, and it was getting closer. Hush, hush, Chapter 2. The princess, lower your weapons, the voice commanded, and Marcus felt the temperature in the corridor drop another 10 degrees. Emergency lighting flickered on, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Standing before the Zephyrian soldiers was a figure that made Marcus's breath catch in his throat. She was tall. Even by Zephyrian standards, with skin that seemed to contain starlight itself. Her crystalline features were sharp and elegant, and her eyes glowed with an inner fire that spoke of incredible power. Most striking of all was the crown of living light that floated above her head, shifting and dancing like solar flares. Princess Zyra, one of the soldiers stammered, dropping to one knee. We were not told you had returned to the ship. There are many things you were not told, Captain Vex, she replied, her voice carrying authority that seemed to bend reality around it. Now, explain to me why you are hunting this human through my ship like common raiders. Marcus remained hidden, trying to process what he was seeing. Princess Zyra. He'd heard rumors about her during his intelligence briefings. The daughter of Queen Zara, the most powerful being in the Zephyrian Empire. They said she could read minds control matter at the molecular level and had never been defeated in battle. They also said she was supposed to be dead. Your Highness, Captain Vex continued, his voice shaking, this human is a spy. He infiltrated our ship during the peace negotiations. Our orders are to your orders, Princess Zyra interrupted, are now suspended. She turned her glowing eyes toward Marcus's hiding spot. Human, I know you're there. Come out. I give you my word that no harm will come to you while you're under my protection. Marcus hesitated. Every instinct told him this was a trap. But he was outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of options. Slowly, he stepped out from behind the metal beam, his hands raised, but still gripping his weapon. The princess studied him. With those incredible eyes, Marcus felt as if she was seeing straight through to his soul. Interesting, she murmured. Captain Vex, what evidence do you have that this human is a spy? Was found in the restricted sections, Your Highness. Near the quantum core, clearly, he was attempting sabotage. Princess Zyra's expression didn't change, but Marcus noticed the temperature drop another few degrees. Captain Vex fumbled with his equipment, projecting a holographic display. The footage showed Marcus moving through the ship's corridors, but it was edited, jumpy, clearly altered. Captain, the princess said, her voice now carrying a dangerous edge, are you aware that falsifying evidence is punishable by crystallization? The captain's glowing skin paled. Your Highness, this human was not attempting sabotage, she continued. He was looking for something, or someone. Her eyes locked onto Marcus again. Aren't you human? Marcus's mind raced. How could She'll possibly know that, but she was right. He hadn't come here to destroy anything. He'd come looking for information about the missing Earth colony ships that had vanished along the Zephyrian border 6 months ago. "My name is Marcus," he said, finding his voice. "And yes, I was looking for something. Information about my people." "Your people?" Captain Vex snarled. "Your people are nothing," but the air around Captain Vex suddenly crystallized, casing him in a transparent prison that cut off his words mid-sentence. "I grow tired of your prejudice, Captain," Princess Zira said calmly. "Perhaps some time in contemplation will improve your perspective." She turned back to Marcus, and for the first time, he saw something unexpected in her expression. Curiosity, and maybe, just maybe, respect. "Walk with me, Marcus, of the humans," she said. "We have much to discuss." Chapter 3. The truth unveiled. Princess Zira led Marcus through corridors he'd never seen before. These passages were older, more organic. The walls seemed to pulse with their own heartbeat, and strange symbols flickered in and out of existence. Along the surfaces, "You're wondering how I knew," she said without looking back. "About what you were really doing on my ship." "The thought had crossed my mind," Marcus replied, still trying to process everything that had happened. "Are you telepathic?" "Not in the way you understand it," she said. "I can read the quantum signatures of living beings. Thoughts, emotions, intentions, they all leave traces in the quantum field. Your signature is ... unusual." They entered a vast chamber that took Marcus's breath away. The room was filled with floating holographic displays showing star maps, ship movements, and what looked like massive battle plans. But what caught his attention were the images of human colony ships. His colony ships. "The UES Horizon," Marcus whispered, staring at the hologram of the massive vessel. "The new Earth, the pioneer's dream." He turned to face the princess. "You know where they are?" "No more than their location," Princess Zira said, her expression growing dark. "I know why they disappeared, and I know who was responsible." She waved her hand, and the displays shifted, showing a different section of space. A region Marcus recognized as the void sector, an area where both human and Zephyrian ships had been vanishing for months. "There is something out there," she continued, "something that feeds on advanced civilizations. It has been hunting us both, picking off our ships, learning our technologies. My mother's military advisors believe it's just pirates or rebels. They're wrong." "What is it?" Marcus asked, though part of him didn't want to know the answer. "We call them the Devourers," Princess Zira said. "They're not from our galaxy, maybe not even from our dimension. They consume not just matter and energy, but information itself. Every ship they take, every person they capture, adds to their collective knowledge." Marcus felt a chill that had nothing to do with the ship's temperature. "How do you know all this?" Because she said, turning to face him fully. "I was there when they took one of our ships. I was supposed to die with the crew. Instead, I escaped. But not before I learned something terrible." She gestured to another holographic display. This one showed a massive organic-looking ship that seemed to shift and writhe even in the static. "Recording? They're not just taking our ships," she said. "They're building something. A weapon that uses the combined technologies of every species they've consumed. Human, Zephyrian, and at least a dozen others we've never even heard of." Marcus stared at the alien vessel, trying to comprehend its size. It was bigger than anything humanity had ever built. Bigger than the Zephyrian capital ships. And if the princess was right, it was getting bigger every day. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. "Why help a human spy?" "'Cause Princess Zira said, you're not just any human. Your quantum signature shows traces of exposure to devourer technology. You've encountered them before, haven't you?" Marcus's blood ran cold. The memory he'd tried so hard to suppress came flooding back. The merchant vessel he'd been traveling on 3 years ago. The attack that had come from nowhere. The few survivors who'd spoken in whispers about shadows that moved between the stars. "The merchant ship Prosperity," he whispered. "I was one of only 7 survivors, but we were told it was pirates." "Your governments lied to you," she said, "just as mine lied to me. They know about the Devourers, but they're too proud to admit that our species face a threat we cannot handle alone. She moved to a control panel and began entering commands. Chamber's displays shifted again, showing what looked like fleet movements from both human and Zephyrian space. That's why I'm here, she continued. I've been gathering evidence, preparing for the moment when I could convince both our peoples to work together, but time is running out. What do you mean? The weapon they're building, she said, her voice growing urgent. Our intelligence suggests it will be complete within days. When it activates, it won't just destroy our fleets. It will begin consuming entire star systems. Marcus felt the weight of the universe pressing down on him. How do we stop something like that? Princess Zyra's expression hardened with determination. We do what our leaders refuse to do. We unite our species. And we strike first. Before Marcus could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Red warning lights bathed the chamber in an ominous glow. What's happening? Marcus asked. Princess Zyra was already moving toward the chamber's exit, her crystalline armor materializing around her as if from thin air. We're under attack, she said. Based on these sensor readings, it's not pirates. The lights went out completely in the darkness. Marcus heard that same soft humming sound from before. But this time, it wasn't coming from the princess. It was coming from outside the ship. Chapter 4. The Queen's Judgment. The ship shuddered as something massive impacted its hull. Marcus was thrown against a wall, his head spinning as the artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. Emergency lighting flickered on and off, casting chaotic shadows through the chamber. Stay close to me, Princess Zyra commanded, her crown of light now blazing like a miniature sun. The Devourers have found us. They ran through corridors filled with Zephyrian crew members rushing to battle stations. Marcus could hear the distinctive whine of energy weapons charging throughout the ship. But underneath it all was that terrible humming sound, growing louder by the second. The bridge, Princess Zyra said. We need to reach the bridge. They turned a corner and came face to face with Captain Vex, who had apparently been freed from his crystalline prison. His armor was cracked, and one of his arms hung useless at his side. Your Highness, he gasped. The attackers there not like anything we've seen before. Our weapons barely scratch them, and they're somehow adapting to our defensive systems. In real time, how many ships? The princess demanded. Just one, Captain Vex replied. But it's the size of a small moon. They reached the bridge to find chaos. Crew members were shouting orders. Displays were flickering with damage reports. And in the center of it all stood a figure that made Marcus's breath catch in his throat. Queen. Zara was even more imposing than her daughter. Where Princess Zyra radiated controlled power, the Queen was a force of nature contained in a crystalline form. Her presence filled the room like a physical weight, and when she turned her glowing eyes toward Marcus, he felt as if he was being examined by a star. Daughter, Queen Zara said, her voice carrying harmonics that seemed to resonate in Marcus's bones. You return at last, and you bring ... this. Mother, Princess Zyra replied, standing straighter. This human has information about the threat we're facing. Human spy on my ship during peace negotiations, the Queen said, her voice growing colder. Some might call that an act of war. He's not a spy, Princess Zyra said firmly. He's your Majesty, Marcus interrupted, stepping forward despite every instinct telling him to run. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm a xenobiologist with the Earth Colonial Survey. I came here looking for information about our missing colony ships. But what? I found is something that threatens both our species. Queen Zara studied him with those burning eyes. Marcus felt as if she was looking into his very soul, weighing and measuring everything he was and had ever been. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. On the main display, they could see their attacker for the first time. It was exactly as Princess Zyra had described, a massive, organic-looking vessel that seemed to pulse and writhe like a living thing. But it was the smaller details that made Marcus's blood run cold. The hull was covered in sections that looked distinctly human, Zephyrian, and several other species he didn't recognize. It was a patchwork monster built from the corpses of 100 different civilizations. Mother, Princess Zyra said urgently, that is a devourer ship. They've been taking vessels from both our species, building something. This may be our only chance to silence, Queen Zara commanded. The bridge fell completely quiet, except for the hum of ship systems and the distant sound of weapons fire. The Queen approached Marcus slowly, each step deliberate and measured. When she was close enough that he could see the swirling galaxies in her eyes, she spoke. "Human," she said, "are you prepared to die for the truth you claim to possess?" Marcus's mouth went dry, but he thought about the colony ships, about the families who had vanished into the void, about Sarah back on Earth, waiting for news that might never come. "Yes," he said. Queen Zara studied him for a long moment. Then unexpectedly she smiled. "Good," she said, "because death may be the only way to stop what's coming." She turned to address the bridge crew. "All ships retreat to safe distance. Prepare the quantum lance." "Mother, no." Princess Zyra stepped forward. "If you use the quantum lance here, the energy cascade will destroy everything within 10 light years, including that thing," Queen Zara replied, gesturing to the devourer. "Ship on the display, including the human colony ships," Marcus said desperately. "Your Majesty, Princess Zyra is right. There has to be another way." The Queen turned back to him, her expression unreadable. "And what would you suggest, human?" "That we somehow board that monstrosity and destroy it from within. That we risk the lives of my people on the word of a spy." "He's not a spy," Princess Zyra said, her own voice rising with urgency. "Mother, I've been researching the Devourers for months. This human has encountered them before. He survived their attack. Don't you see? Together our species might have a chance. Apart, we're just feeding them more technology to use against the rest of the galaxy." The ship shook again, and this time Marcus heard something that chilled him to the bone. The sound of hull plating being torn away. "They're boarding us," Captain Vex reported. "Decks 7 through 12 are being breached." Queen Zara closed her eyes for a moment, as if communing with some vast intelligence. When she opened them, again Marcus saw something he hadn't expected. "Fear. The quantum signatures," she whispered. "They're already adapting to our defenses, learning our technologies just from proximity." She looked at Marcus with new intensity. "Human, your people's ships, do they carry quantum encryption keys?" "Some of them," Marcus replied. "The colony ships would have had full military-grade encryption for their navigation and communication systems." "Then it's already too late," Queen Zara said. "They have access to both our technologies. The weapon they're building won't just destroy our fleets. It will use our own systems against us." The lights went out completely. In the darkness, Marcus heard Princess Zyra's voice, calm and determined. "Mother, there is one option we haven't considered. Speak. The human is right. We need to work together. But not just our governments. Us. Right here, right now. The Devourers adapt to individual species technologies, but they've never encountered a fusion of human and Zephyrian systems." Emergency lighting flickered back on, and Marcus could see that the Queen was considering her daughter's words. "You're suggesting a mind link," Queen Zara said slowly. "Between a human and a Zephyrian. It's never been attempted." "Because it's never been necessary," Princess Zyra replied. "But Marcus has survived Devourer contact before. Its quantum signature shows unusual resistance to their influence. If we link our minds, combine our knowledge and abilities, we might be able to create something they can't adapt to," Marcus finished, understanding dawning. "A hybrid approach that uses the best of both species." Queen Zara looked between her daughter and the human, her expression cycling through doubt, fear, and finally determination. "The procedure could kill you both," she said, Mother Princess Zyra said, moving to stand beside Marcus. "When you questioned him about being prepared to die for the truth, I saw something in his quantum signature. Already made peace with that possibility." "As have I." The ship shuddered more violently, and they could hear the sound of combat drawing closer. To the bridge, Queen Zara closed her eyes again, then opened them with resolve written across her crystalline features. "Very well," she said, "but understand this. Human, if you betray my daughter, if this is some elaborate human trick, I will spend eternity making you regret it." "I understand," Marcus replied. "Then let us begin," the Queen said. "And may the stars forgive us all." As the Devourer forces breached the final barriers between them and the bridge, Marcus felt Princess Zyra's hand take his. The moment their skin touched, the universe exploded into light. ## epilogue. The New Alliance. 6 months later. The joint human-Zephyrian space station hung in the void like a crystal flower blooming among the stars. Ships from both species moved in carefully choreographed patterns around it, their crews working together with an efficiency that would have been impossible just a year before. Marcus stood on the observation deck, watching the construction of the new hybrid vessels. They were beautiful things combining human ingenuity with Zephyrian crystalline technology in ways that created something entirely new, something the Devourers had never encountered before. The first patrol ships will be ready for deployment next week, Princess Zyra said, joining him at the viewport. The mind link they'd shared during the battle had left them permanently connected in subtle ways. He could sense her presence before she spoke, feel the echo of her thoughts at the edge of his consciousness. "Any word from the advanced scouts?" Marcus asked. 3 more Devourer ships have been spotted in the Outer Rim, she replied. "But they're keeping their distance. Your theory about them being confused by our hybrid technology appears to be correct." Marcus nodded. The battle 6 months ago had been won, but barely. The mind link between him and Princess Zyra had allowed them to create a weapon that the Devourers couldn't adapt to, a fusion of human creativity and Zephyrian quantum manipulation that had torn their ship apart from the inside. But it had also revealed the true scope of the threat they faced. The Devourers weren't just raiders. They were scouts for something much larger, something that was still coming. "The colony ships?" he asked. "The survivors from the UES Horizon and New Earth are settling into their new homes on Zephyr Prime," Princess Zyra said. "Your people and mine are learning to work together faster than either of our governments anticipated. And your mother?" Zyra smiled, an expression that still made Marcus's heart skip a beat, still adjusting to the idea that her daughter's human partner is now officially part of the royal family. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the ships move among the stars. In the distance, Marcus could see Earth's sun, a tiny point of light that somehow still felt like home. And beside it, the blue-white glow of the Zephyrian home system. "Do you think we'll be ready when they come back?" Marcus asked. "The Devourers?" Princess Zyra considered the question. "I don't know, but I know we'll face them together, human and Zephyrian, united in a way that even we didn't think was possible." She took his hand, and through their connection, Marcus felt her certainty, her hope, and her love for both her people and his. "Whatever comes next," she said, "we'll meet it as one species, one family." Outside the viewport, a new ship was taking shape, larger than any vessel either species had built alone, its hull inscribed with symbols from both human and Zephyrian languages. A declaration to the universe that some threats were too great for any one people to face alone. But together, they might just have a chance. In the depths of space, something ancient and hungry detected the new quantum signatures and paused in its relentless advance. For the first time in eons, it encountered something it didn't. To understand something it would have to be very careful about consuming. The hunt was about to become much more interesting.